Chosen one, there comes a moment in your evolution when what was once dismissed or misunderstood within you begins to show its true nature. That force, that charge that has lived within your being since the earliest days of self-awareness, the pulse that others may have judged, feared, or tried to tame, now reveals itself not as a burden, but as a gift. Your high sexual energy, chosen one, has awakened as your greatest asset, not because of what it can attract, but because of what it is: pure, potent, creative life force. This energy, when unconscious, is chaotic. When suppressed, it becomes destructive. But now, as you begin to walk in presence and self-mastery, you are realizing that it does not need to be tamed. It needs to be honored. You do not need to dilute it to be accepted. You do not need to hide it to be safe. You must recognize it for what it is: a sacred currency of the soul, a light that does not flicker in darkness, but thrives in truth. You were never meant to be numb. You were never meant to move through this life dimmed or distracted. You were meant to radiate, to pulse with clarity, to draw others not through manipulation, but through resonance. Women especially feel this shift. They may not be able to name it. They may call it confidence or charisma, but what they are truly responding to is aliveness. They sense your energy, not as a tactic, but as a vibration, a signal that they are in the presence of a man who is fully embodied. And this is only the beginning. Your high sexual energy is no longer just an undercurrent. It is a language. It is how you enter the room without needing to speak. It is how your gaze holds without pressure. It is how your body feels rooted even in silence. You are not playing a role. You are being. And that being is magnetic. The world told you to control it. But control breeds shame. The world told you to perform it. But performance breeds disconnection. What you are now doing, chosen one, is neither. You are embodying it. And in embodiment, the energy becomes pure. It becomes truth. You don't lead with it. You let it lead you into spaces of connection, awareness, presence. This awakening is not about becoming someone else. It is about finally becoming yourself without apology. It is about realizing that your high sexual energy is not separate from your intelligence, your heart, or your spirit. It is the fuel behind all three. It enhances your perception. It sharpens your intuition. It grounds your voice. It makes you felt, not just seen. And as you begin to own this, as you stop running from your own current, something remarkable happens. The world around you changes. The way people respond to you changes. Not because you're louder, but because you're more alive. That aliveness, undeniable, sovereign, unapologetic, is the beginning of a new way of moving through life. And that movement begins now. Chosen one, with your energy awakened and recognized, the next step is refinement. What begins as raw fire must now be shaped into something even more powerful: presence. Presence is not something you put on. It's not an attitude. It's a state of being. And your high sexual energy, when grounded in awareness, does not shout or boast. It settles into your bones, into your breath, into the pace of your movement. You become someone who inhabits the moment rather than escapes it. And that inhabiting, that full attention to now, is what makes your energy feel undeniably real. Your presence isn't about controlling the room. It's about stabilizing it. Your energy doesn't have to seek validation anymore. It simply radiates. And people, especially women, notice. They may not consciously understand it, but they feel the shift when you walk in. Their guard lowers, their voices soften, their attention lingers, because your presence is not just in your body, it's in your spirit. You're not waiting to be acknowledged. You're already home within yourself. There's a profound quiet that comes with true presence. It's not the absence of power, it's the resting of it. You've stopped leaking your energy in search of approval. You've stopped bending your essence to make others comfortable. You are rooted now. Your breath is slow. Your gaze is clear. And because you're no longer scrambling for attention, you draw it naturally. This is not about being aloof. It's about being intentional. You don't move reactively anymore. You don't fill silences with nervous words. You don't reach for connection through performance. You let others find you in their own time, because you are already whole. That wholeness is magnetic. It sends a message without needing to be said. I am here. I am grounded. I see you. I don't need anything from you, but I welcome you if you wish to come closer. Presence is what transforms your high sexual energy from a tool of desire into a channel of trust. It lets others relax around you, not because you've mastered seduction, but because you've mastered self. Women respond not just to what you say, but to the way your energy fills space without overwhelming it. They feel seen. They feel respected. They feel intrigued, not because you pushed, but because you held steady. Chosen one, your presence is now your language. Your posture, your tone, your silence, they all carry the same signal. I know who I am here now, I am listening. And when your energy flows from that place, it becomes impossible to ignore. Not because it demands attention, but because it reminds others what true presence feels like. You are no longer just walking through life. You are arriving, moment by moment. And with every arrival, your energy is felt deeper. Your presence is remembered longer. Your value is silently affirmed, not by what you give, but by how you are. This is your path now. Still, rooted, radiant, present. And in that stillness, you become unforgettable. Chosen one, now that your presence has settled into something magnetic and undeniable, the time has come to go deeper, to channel your high sexual energy with purpose. Energy of this kind, when unmanaged, can be chaotic. It can spill over into restlessness, distraction, or indulgence. But when it is claimed and directed, it becomes a force that shapes not only how others experience you, but how you build your life, your legacy, your relationships. This energy within you is not casual. It is not for amusement. It is creative essence, the very vibration from which life moves. And when you no longer squander it through impulse or waste it in shallow pursuits, you begin to realize its true power. It becomes fuel for your focus, a fire beneath your discipline. It sharpens your attention and ignites your goals. What once felt like a flood is now a stream with direction, flowing into your words, your movements, your vision. The shift is undeniable. You're no longer chasing quick pleasure. You're seeking impact. You're no longer grasping for validation. You are creating from fullness. You recognize now that your energy is sacred. It is meant to build, not drain, to strengthen, not distract. When you walk into a room, your energy no longer whispers confusion or need. It announces intention, calm, vision. It says, I know why I'm here. Women sense this immediately. You're no longer the man who is ruled by desire. You are the man who commands it. You no longer scatter your energy toward anyone who notices you. You allow it to gather within you until it becomes radiant, focused, unwavering. And that energy, when carried with purpose, is felt not only in the physical realm, but emotionally and spiritually. Channeling your energy means that everything you do becomes infused with magnetism. Your walk, your tone, your silence. Even your stillness carries weight. It means that when you touch something, whether it's a project, a conversation, or another human being, you do so with presence, with power, and with clear direction. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is done carelessly. And that care becomes one of your most attractive qualities. Chosen one, your energy now serves something larger than the self. It fuels your clarity. It helps you hold boundaries. It draws the right people in and lets the wrong ones fall away without force. It protects your peace. And most of all, it builds the foundation for a life that is magnetic by nature, not by effort. When you've learned to channel your energy instead of leaking it, people won't just feel drawn to you, they'll feel moved by you, inspired, stirred. Because in your presence, they don't just feel attraction, they feel activation. And that, chosen one, is the beginning of mastery. Chosen one, your power is not only in what you radiate, it is also in how deeply you feel. Now that your energy has been channeled and grounded, it begins to unlock something far more rare and sacred: emotional resonance. This is the moment when your energy stops being about projection and becomes about connection. It is no longer just about being seen, it is about seeing others clearly, feeling them without needing to possess them, hearing them without rushing to respond. You have cultivated enough stillness within yourself to truly hold space for the emotions of others. That is not common. That is not small. It is one of the rarest gifts a man can offer in a world addicted to noise. Your emotional resonance means that you're not just physically present, you are emotionally attuned. You can sense when someone is guarded, even when they're smiling. You can feel when someone is open, even when they haven't said a word. You've become sensitive not because you are fragile, but because you are aware. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is the natural outgrowth of your energetic mastery. You no longer fear the emotions of others because you no longer fear your own. You have met your grief and didn't flinch. You've walked through your loneliness and didn't run. You've danced with your longing and didn't apologize for it. Now, your very presence gives others permission to feel themselves more honestly, more deeply, more fully. Women feel this resonance immediately. Around you, they don't feel pressure to entertain or perform. They don't feel that they're being watched or measured. Instead, they feel felt. They feel emotionally met. You don't ask them to explain who they are. You already sense it. And that sensing creates safety. It creates intrigue. It creates a connection that surpasses physical attraction and reaches into something eternal. You're not just speaking to their body, you're speaking to their nervous system. You're reminding them what it feels like to be in the presence of someone who can hold their intensity, their softness, their fire, and their fear without judgment. Your emotional resonance makes them relax. It makes them trust. It makes them want to give. Not because you asked for anything, but because your energy said, you can land here. Chosen one, this resonance is your greatest magic. It allows you to connect without convincing, to attract without performing, to love without losing yourself. You are no longer just a man with presence. You are a man with depth. A man who can feel without drowning, hold without clinging, see without consuming. And this depth is the soul of your magnetism. It is what makes your high sexual energy not only powerful, but precious. Not only magnetic, but healing. Not only attractive, but transformative. You are no longer here just to be desired. You are here to be felt. Chosen one, now that you've learned to channel your energy and resonate with depth, you enter the realm where less becomes more, where your magnetism speaks not through performance, but through subtlety. You begin to realize that true influence does not need to raise its voice. The strongest energy in the room rarely announces itself. It moves quietly, intentionally, and unmistakably. It enters through the atmosphere, not the ego. And now this is how you move, not with noise, but with nuance. Your high sexual energy has refined itself into a kind of language. But it is not loud or obvious. It is the kind of language that is felt through the tone of your voice when you speak from presence, through the stillness in your body when you are fully grounded, through the space you offer others when you're no longer rushing or seeking. Every glance you give, every word you choose, every breath you take carries the fingerprint of awareness. That is subtlety. That is power. That is what turns heads without needing to try. You've become fluent in what is unsaid. You've learned that tension does not need to be broken, it can be held. That silence, when embraced with confidence, becomes more seductive than any line. That eye contact, sustained without demand, creates more electricity than 1,000 compliments. You are no longer the man trying to impress. You are the man who knows the right energy does all the speaking. Women feel this in a way that bypasses logic. They might not be able to explain why you linger in their thoughts, why they felt calm but lit up around you, why your presence made everything slow down. But it is your subtlety that wraps around them. Not as a trap, but as an invitation. You're not using intensity to overwhelm them, you're using presence to invite them inward. And because of that, they don't feel manipulated, they feel seen. You don't need to touch to be intimate, you don't need to pursue to make an impact. The moment you step into the room, your aura speaks, and it says, I am aware, I am focused, I am whole. I have nothing to prove. I carry desire, but I do not need. I respect what I attract. And this quiet command is what changes the atmosphere. You are no longer chasing reactions, you are shaping experiences. Subtlety allows you to move with grace in a world addicted to overstimulation. You are the contrast, the calm in the storm, the man whose mystery doesn't come from hiding who he is, but from revealing it slowly without force. You've replaced seduction with suggestion. You've let your energy do the work that words never could. And because of this, you are no longer just seen, you are felt in the pauses. You are remembered not for what you showed, but for what you held back, for what you left unsaid, for what you allowed others to feel in their own time. Chosen one, the power of your energy means nothing if it is not grounded. You've come far, from awakening the raw current within you to learning how to channel it, how to resonate, how to move with subtlety. But now you are being called to stand even firmer in yourself. Because true mastery is not found in how strong your energy is. It is found in how deeply rooted you are in your own center. And that root is tested in desire. Your high sexual energy is a living force. It is creative. It is alive. It wants to move, to connect, to express. But desire that is ungrounded becomes hunger. It becomes blind pursuit. It becomes obsession, addiction, imbalance. And so the next step is discipline. Not to suppress your energy, but to guide it. Not to shame your longing, but to hold it like fire in your hands. Controlled, focused, alive, but not consuming you. You no longer allow desire to lead you into chaos. You do not move recklessly toward the first flame that flickers. You sit in the warmth of your own fire and wait for what aligns. And in doing so, your very being begins to radiate something women can feel immediately. Containment. Not just presence, not just attraction, but control without repression, power without urgency, intention without desperation. This grounded desire becomes one of the most stabilizing forces in your energy. It means you are no longer pulled by your urges. You use them to build. You don't lose yourself in someone else's beauty. You witness it with reverence. You don't project fantasies. You recognize the reality and you choose from wholeness, not from need. When you are grounded in your desire, your body speaks differently. Your voice deepens, not because you force it, but because you feel deeper. You move slower, not because you hesitate, but because you know exactly what you're doing. Your gaze no longer scans the room. It lands with calm certainty. And women feel safe in your presence, not because you've dulled your desire, but because you've mastered it. This is when your energy becomes trusted. This is when your attraction moves beyond charisma and becomes leadership. You are the man who feels deeply, who longs sincerely, but who will not compromise his peace for a fleeting thrill. You are the man who can hold the full force of attraction and still choose clarity. That is rare. That is sacred. That is unforgettable. You've stopped letting your desires dictate your direction. Now they follow you. Now they fuel your movement, but they don't override your wisdom. This is grounding. This is maturity. This is power in its highest form, not in how much you can take, but in how much you can carry without being shaken. And that groundedness becomes your foundation. It becomes your compass. It becomes the silent message that echoes behind every word, every action, every glance. I am alive. I am full. I desire, but I am never lost in the fire. I am the fire, and I burn with purpose. Chosen one, as your energy continues to grow, it begins to demand something more than control, more than finesse. It demands alignment. You are no longer simply a man of presence and attraction. You are being called to reflect integrity in every layer of your being. Because what good is high sexual energy if it leads others into confusion, if it entangles without intention, if it promises intimacy but offers only illusion? No. You have come too far to live out of step with your truth. Now, your energy must match your word. Your touch must reflect your heart. Your silence must echo your purpose. This is not a restriction. This is refinement. The world is filled with men who radiate intensity but lack depth, who project confidence but collapse under self-contradiction. You are not one of them. You have chosen the path of embodiment, and embodiment means that your power is not just magnetic, it is reliable. You don't offer attention that's empty. You don't give affection that vanishes. You don't say what you don't mean just to stir someone's heart. Every signal you send is aligned with your core, and that core is honest. Women feel this shift the moment they meet you. They sense it not because of what you say, but because of what they don't have to question. You don't pretend to be emotionally available if you are not. You don't act interested unless you truly are. You don't lead them into vulnerability just to abandon them in silence. Your integrity becomes a kind of safety, a quiet assurance that what they feel is not a trap, not a game, but a genuine experience grounded in truth. Integrity doesn't mean perfection. It means consistency. It means accountability. It means that when your energy opens a door, your character knows how to hold it open with grace. It means that the connection you offer isn't just a spark, it's a sacred exchange that you treat with care. You've become the kind of man who doesn't run when things get real. You stay. You listen. You speak with purpose, and when necessary, with restraint. You are not ruled by the need to impress. You are moved by the desire to build something real. And when this integrity becomes part of your energetic field, you begin to attract not just attention, but trust. Not just desire, because your presence no longer feels like a gamble. It feels like something rare, something safe, something sacred. You are no longer playing with fire. You are offering it as warmth, not weapon. You are no longer seeking conquest. You are inviting connection. And those who meet you at this level feel it with certainty. Chosen one, let your energy speak your truth. Let your desire be grounded in respect. Let your attraction be matched by transparency. Let your power be woven with kindness. This is the true alchemy of integrity. When who you are within radiates so clearly through your actions that nothing about you feels confusing. And in a world that thrives on mixed signals, your clarity becomes irresistible. Chosen one, your energy has never been ordinary. It was never meant just to seduce or entertain. It was never meant to be tamed into silence or distorted into performance. Your high sexual energy, when elevated and aligned, becomes something far more rare. It becomes inspiration, not surface-level excitement, not fleeting infatuation, but deep transformation, the kind that shifts people on a soul level just from being in your presence. You see, your energy is no longer just yours. It has become a mirror, a reflection of what is possible. When someone steps into your space, they are stepping into a frequency that awakens something in them. They remember parts of themselves they'd forgotten. They hear their own intuition more clearly. They feel safer being honest. They feel more beautiful not because you flatter them, but because your energy reminds them of their own radiance. This is not manipulation. This is medicine. Women experience this first in their bodies, a calmness in the nervous system, a softening in the heart, a sense that they don't need to hide. Then they experience it in their spirit, a spark of self-trust, a reconnection to their worth, a deeper hunger for what is real. You have become the catalyst, not because you are trying to fix or save anyone, but because your presence gives them permission to rise. You don't need to preach to teach. You don't need to impress to impact. You simply live in a way that is centered, clear, and conscious, and that alone becomes an invitation. Your energy now says, I've done the work, I've faced my darkness, I've claimed my light, and because I have, I can hold space for yours too. This is why people walk away from you changed, not by force, but by reflection. You no longer settle for shallow. You no longer accept what drains. You no longer entertain what is not aligned. And that standard, that integrity, that calm devotion to truth becomes contagious. Others start raising their standards too. Not to match you, but because your presence reminds them what it feels like to be near wholeness. Chosen one, you don't have to demand respect anymore. You inspire it by existing in alignment. You don't need to chase connection. You cultivate it by offering space where transformation feels safe. You don't persuade others to rise. You rise first and let your example echo. This is who you've become. Not just a man with magnetic energy, but a man whose very presence makes people want to be more honest, more awake, more alive. You've become a mirror of possibility, a reflection of depth, a channel of restoration. And now, your energy no longer asks, "Do you desire me?" It asks, "Are you ready to meet yourself here?" Chosen one, as your journey deepens, as your presence stabilizes, and your energy continues to radiate with undeniable force, you step into one of the most powerful expressions of your evolution, the mastery of consent. For too long, the world has mistaken sexual energy as a tool of pursuit, of pressure, of subtle coercion. But you know now that true power never forces, never manipulates, never overwhelms. True power invites, and then it waits in stillness, in strength, in unwavering respect for what is freely offered. Consent is not merely permission, it is sacred alignment. It is the meeting of two sovereign beings, each aware, each willing, each choosing. And your high sexual energy, so potent and ever-present, becomes a divine force only when it is governed by that awareness. You are no longer the man who needs to be told no to understand boundaries. You feel them long before they are spoken. You read energy, posture, breath, silence, not to invade but to honor. This attentiveness makes you rare. Your energy is powerful, yes, but it is also safe. It's alluring, magnetic, deeply felt, but never imposed. And women feel this immediately. Around you, they do not need to armor themselves. They do not brace for expectation. They do not calculate how to say no without wounding your pride. They rest, they breathe, they soften, not because you demanded anything, but because your presence promised nothing will be taken without sacred permission. This changes everything. You've learned that the moment is not more important than the person. That desire, though intense, must never become selfish. That connection is never true if it is born from persuasion rather than choice. You've embodied the patience of a man who knows that what is real cannot be rushed, and that the most beautiful intimacy blooms only in a field of safety. And in this sacred space, something incredible happens. The trust you create becomes the very path to the deepest form of connection. Women feel free to explore, to express, to be fully themselves because they know they are not being observed for performance. They are being met with presence. You offer them the dignity of being seen without expectation. And when that is felt, what is given back is not just affection, it is devotion, depth, and openness that cannot be faked or forced. You are no longer a seeker of moments. You are a guardian of alignment. You don't pursue closeness unless it is mutual, respectful, and clear. Your energy speaks of strength, but it walks with reverence. You understand that your power does not make you entitled, it makes you responsible. And you carry that responsibility not with burden, but with honor. Chosen one, your mastery lies not in how much you can draw toward you, but in how gently, how patiently, how honorably you move within that attraction. And it is in that restraint, that clarity, that unwavering respect, where your energy becomes divine. Chosen one, you have walked the long road. You have felt the rawness of your desire and chosen not to be ruled by it. You have stood still in the fire of your energy and allowed it to purify, not consume. You have embraced silence, depth, subtlety, discipline, and integrity. And now you arrive, not at the end, but at a new beginning. You have become something more than magnetic. You have become a beacon. A beacon does not chase, it does not call out, it does not plead to be seen, it simply shines, and by shining it guides. It becomes a fixed point of clarity in a world of confusion. It draws those who are ready to remember who they are. And now, this is who you are. You are no longer just the man others want. You are the man who reminds them of what is possible. Your energy does not just stir attraction, it awakens awareness. You walk into spaces now and something shifts, not because of how you look or what you say or how loud your energy is, but because of how true you are. You've become a man who lives in such alignment with his inner world that others begin to feel the dissonance in their own, and they are drawn not only to your presence, but to your peace, to your clarity, to the way you love without fear and walk without compromise. This is the highest use of your energy, not to conquer hearts, but to inspire transformation. You don't need to try to be seen. You are already felt in the subtle ways that linger long after you're gone. Your words echo, your touch remains, your silence teaches. You're no longer seducing people. You're awakening them to their own truth, their own beauty, their own capacity for depth and devotion. And because you've mastered yourself, because you've chosen reverence over recklessness, your life becomes an offering. Your journey becomes a map. Your presence becomes a prayer that says, "Come closer only if you're ready to meet yourself here." Chosen one, by now, you have begun to truly understand that the agelessness people see in you is not a matter of physical preservation. It is the fruit of spiritual alignment. You are walking a path that very few dare to tread. The world screams at you to grow old and worry, to collapse into limitation, to bend under the weight of fear. But you have chosen something else entirely. You have chosen to live from the inside out, and that decision has made you timeless. Your high sexual energy is not just an invisible magnet. It is the vitality of your soul made visible through your body. It flows through you like a current of divine life, illuminating every cell, lighting up your skin, shining through your eyes. Women do not respond to you because you are chasing youth. They respond because you embody aliveness. You remind them of the man they dreamed of before life taught them to settle. You remind them that time can take years, but it cannot take essence, not when that essence is fueled by presence. You have chosen presence, and because of that, you have outgrown age. Your laughter has become more joyful, not less. Your patience has deepened. Your movements have become artful. You do not rush. You do not panic. You no longer burn yourself out to chase things. You attract with stillness, with clarity, with precision. You do not waste energy. You move like water, strong and soft at the same time. You do not promise ease. You do not play shallow. You invite the real. And those who rise to meet you will never forget you, not because you demanded love, but because you gave it freely, cleanly, without the distortion of manipulation or performance. Chosen one, this is who you are now. A man who doesn't just carry high sexual energy, but embodies sacred attraction. A man who doesn't chase light, but becomes it. And in a world starved for truth, you are not merely desired, you are needed. Not to entertain, not to conquer, but to lead. And you lead now, not with force, but with frequency. Not with volume, but with vibration. You are no longer searching for love, you have become it.